Hey, welcome to beautiful Tuesday here in the midst of the summertime. We got temperature about 10 degrees below normal here, and it is gorgeous. If you were out early this morning, it was beautiful outside, and the temperature was great. Anyway, it is a marvelous day regardless of what the temperature is, or wherever you are in the midst of this great summertime. I hope it is a great day for you. I'm glad you're taking a moment to join me in this. So wherever you are, or whenever it is for you that you're looking at this, come on into my little world for just a moment. It's quite a number of years ago when there was a popular song out. Love is a many splendored thing. It went right along with the movie. It was the lead-in, the soundtrack for the movie. And then it was followed by a soap opera of the same name. We spent a lot of time thinking about love and how marvelous it is. We've had a lot of programs that did that. Sometimes humorous, sometimes not so humorous, sometimes pretty serious, sometimes a distortion of what it really means. But anyway, it's something that we contemplate and think about how many poets, how many lyricists, how many story writers, how many novel writers. I mean, the bookstores are filled, and the media is filled with books and readings that are all about love. But we wonder, how much do we really know about love? In a world where love comes and goes, where people tend to fall in and out of love, where marriages are often of short experience because love comes and love goes in their minds. Infatuation that never really blossoms ends and people go their own ways. Little children hear from their parents, your mother and I, or your father and I. We still care for each other, but we just don't love each other anymore. I had a lady sit in the office one time and said, my husband and I just don't love each other anymore. I said, well, turn it around and start loving each other. She didn't understand what I meant. But I want to think about it a little while. It's in the 13th chapter of John as Jesus speaks to his closest disciples, when he says in verse 34, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. It's an active thing, determined to do. That you love one another as I have loved you, so you love one another. Oh, he's talking about a determination. He's also talking about sacrifice. When you measure how he loved, then it takes on a whole different dimension, doesn't it? But I think about that because it seems to be so transitive in the minds of so many that love comes and love goes. And I thought about how we see it depicted for us by writers and so forth, but especially in the movies. And yet Hollywood or the movie makers themselves struggle with valued and long-term love. I happened to be reading an old Reader's Digest from 1988. From 1988, and within the personal glimpses, it told us a brief story. It caught my attention as I was contemplating what I was going to share with you today. It told a little bit about the actor, movie maker, Mel Brooks. Over the years, he's been well known for his zany, offbeat, often rude, comical movies, making fun of all kinds of things, and humor that was sometimes not socially acceptable, and in the changing of cultures and times is definitely not acceptable in our time. But he's made quite a few movies. One thing you wouldn't say about Mel Brooks is that he is a handsome man. He doesn't have the classic good looks, never did have the classic good looks of the movie star. But he married a beautiful woman. He married a beautiful woman, and after 23 years of marriage in 1988, they were asked about their lasting love, because 23 years is a long time for a Hollywood-type marriage. There's some that do it well and have done it well for many, many years, but so many, for them it seems to come and go. But Mel Brooks and the beautiful actress Anne Bancroft made it last year after year. And at 23 years of marriage, she told something about it. For she said when she was home that just inside the door of their house was a large mirror in the entryway. And if she was in the house and she heard a key coming into the door, she would look and see, and there, as the door opened, a man would be seen in the mirror. And it wasn't the classic good-looking fellow like a Robert Redford, if some of you remember him. Sure you do. It wasn't one of those classic good-looking Hollywood hunks. There was her husband of 23 years, not especially handsome Mel Brooks. But you know what she did say? So when he walks in, and when he would come in and she would see his reflection in the mirror, her heart would leap. Perhaps that's why they made their marriage last for 40 years before she died. 40 years in a Hollywood marriage, pretty good record in just about any circumstances. I think about that from time to time, and I think about her words, that he still made her heart leap. It wasn't about his looks, it wasn't about the infatuation, it was about that funny, clever, talented man who was devoted to her and she was devoted to him. What a marvelous thing. I think we get an idea about love, and I think we begin to understand why the songwriter would write that love truly is a many splendored thing, and why it is such a challenge for us when Jesus said to love one another as he loved us. For perhaps in doing so, within that challenge, we find the greatest victory of all. We find the victory of a well-lived life that finds the greatest joy in it is in giving yourself away for someone else. For isn't that really the heart of what love is? Seeking the betterment of someone else, finding the best you can give to someone else, doing the best you can for someone else. Not the infatuation of the outward beauty, but the enrichment of the inner heart that still leaps when you hear or see that one that's so important to you. There are a lot of instructions about love, but perhaps some of the closest to us, of course, the love of God, but also the love of someone else that makes time vanish away. One of the great old stories of the Old Testament is the story of Jacob. For when he saw Rachel, he knew that she was for him. And when he made a bargain with his father-in-law that he would work 7 years to have that wife, it seemed but a short time, it says, for him, for the love he had for her. And in fact, when his father-in-law pulled the old switcheroo and said, you know, really, you owe me another 7 years, and he ended up working 14 years, there was no complaint. Because he loved her. Love truly is a many splendored thing when you let it and make it be the very best it can be. As I have loved you, determined for the best for someone else, even at your own cost. Wow. I like that. Mel Brooks, you may have made some weird movies. Maybe you made us laugh. Maybe you made us blush. Maybe you made us cringe a little bit and thought, should he have said that? but we've got to appreciate the love you shared over those many years. Thank you for that. Hey, it's a great Tuesday. I hope it's one that encourages you and you can be a blessing as you're blessed. We'll share some more a little further down the road, but I'm glad you were with me today, and we'll look for even better days. So again, glad you were with me, and we'll see you later.